Yo, what's good? Welcome back, guys. Today we're doing a one subscriber special talking about why League players have the highest average IQ out of every other game. And we got some Azir gameplay in the background because I didn't know what else to put. But yeah, it's kind of crazy to think about because like the gameplay I'm playing against, he was really toxic in the chat. And it's crazy to think that these players have a higher IQ than other esports players. But if you start thinking about it a little bit more, it kind of starts to make more sense. For one, League of Legends has a lot of parallels to real life, like education, money, or sports. Now, I don't really know how IQ tests are done, but I have a feeling that in general, League is underrated for training skills you use in real life. For example, education. Just like League, the more hours you grind may not have an immediate impact on your rank or your grade. I wish I'd taken the 2 extra hours of sleep instead of staying up studying for an exam after I saw my exam scores. But League teaches you that doesn't really matter. Immediate success is nice and all, but those 2 hours you spend studying don't go fully to waste. Even if you have to retake the class or are stuck with a C on your academic history, the information, no matter how insignificant, is steadily contributing to your future performances. Basically, what I'm trying to say is that staying up till 2 a.m. just to go 0-7 and 7 and 1-12 on your last 2 games wasn't a waste of time. See, the same thinking can also be applied to money. Working really hard to cook up a business idea or working 50 hours at a job doesn't strictly make you more money compared to everyone else. League teaches you that there are a lot of things out there that's out of your control, and focusing on what you can is the most efficient and effective way to maximize success. Going to a good college, investing time and money won't guarantee you land a good job. You just gotta do everything you can and hope it works out. League teaches you not to despair when your hard work seems to be going nowhere, yet the nepotism baby frat guy is somehow making 6 figures at his dad's company. The most similar parallel of League to real life is probably in sports. I mean, League is called an esport for a reason. I think that there's a lot of reasons that people run to games like League rather than sports. For one, it's easy to play in the little free time you get. You can just put up a game, you don't gotta travel to a facility or a pitch, pay a fee to a club, or worry about driving home and showering after. Because you know that League and showering don't go together in the first place. It also allows us to experience the same joy of gradually improving without the physical exertion and pain that working out and playing sports definitely requires. Different to most sports though, League allows you to choose your own level of consistency and inconsistency. You can maintain consistency in the fundamentally inconsistent game, which is League, by picking the same champion, role, or playstyle. But if you get burnt out or bored, no problem. No one's forcing you to play the champion. Try something new out. A new game mode, a new role, or even take a break and do something else, like play a different game, go eat food. On the topic of control, League of Legends teaches you some highly necessary social skills by constantly forcing you to deal with most degenerate teammates, and enemies, I guess. Of course, learning to deal with these toxic teammates isn't going to increase your IQ by much. However, learning to think, adapt, and find consistency in fresh situations is definitely not only going to get you a higher IQ, it'll also help you with a lot of life tasks as well. Alright, let's talk about a few more good things with League before jumping into the very large cons of it as well, because I know some of you are just salivating for me to start flaming the game. Let me expand on adaptation skills. There are 173 champions in League, each with 4 abilities and a passive ability. Some champs like Nidalee and Jace have 8, and Hui has 10 goddamn abilities to keep track of. Other popular character-based games don't have nearly as many characters and abilities memorized. I'm talking about Valorant, Overwatch, Mario Smash Bros, stuff like that. As such, you will barely ever see the same 5 characters on each side, leading to a fresh appearance every game. Of course, even if you do happen to get the exact same matchup, the characters will be played differently, so there's truly never the same game happening twice. The level of information forcibly smacked into your brain each time you queue up is wild. Firing up your neurons and working your brain in overdrive. Balance changes, item changes, and champions can also change the game drastically. Another potentially go-to thing about League is that there's no, quote, freebie, no reset. While it is possible to come back, making wrong decisions in the early game will impact the rest of your game. Pretty similar to playing in life, college, dating, I guess, stuff like that. With other games like Valorant, Fortnite, Call of Duty, even if you're playing terribly, you can just give your brother the controller, and you can carry the game and still get a win. In League, not only is there less solo carry potential compared to other games, I think, it's also impossible for someone to randomly start popping off if they've been making bad decisions all game. Of course, the bad thing with this is that once you're behind, the game becomes like 20 times less fun than the other games because you know in the back of your mind that the gaming experience will be way less fun for you. But it does teach us to not totally jerk off in the early game and take time to plan for the consequences of our actions. Or we start getting one shot by enemies that we fed. Damn, that rhymed too. Alright, last good thing about League. It creates an extremely strong and stable mental. To succeed in League, you gotta overcome toxic teammates regularly who question your judgments in a very negative manner. And sometimes they're correct as well, which sucks. Having to grapple with your own confidence and make decisions when everyone around you seems to disagree is naturally very taxing on our consciousness. Of course, there's an option to mute, but the unmute button is always going to reach out to us like the Green Goblin mask until we eventually fold and reactivate the chat. However, if you do surpass this challenge, you would have created a highly stable mental, not allowing negative comments to easily influence you, while still being self-critical and acknowledging your mistakes, which, as you probably guessed from me yapping about this for like the past 7 minutes, is a very good skill for real life as well. Alright, now let's talk about what we've all been waiting for. Let me debunk why League players statistically have the highest IQ, yet are some of the most degenerate, brain-dead, and toxic people on Earth. AKA, what I'm saying is let's talk about the cons of League. Disclaimer, I think that playing League is actually attractive to women. Other people seem to disagree, but trust me on this. Anyway, some actual cons include why League players are highly toxic. Well, because League has more potential for teammates to negatively influence your gaming experience. And they can negatively impact it more easily as well. What I mean by this is that although there might be friendly fire in other games, think flashing your teammates in Valorant, or that one clip of XQC throwing perfect mollies at his own teammates on accident, League is a game where it takes effort to not mess up your teammates' game, rather than taking effort to mess with it. What I'm saying is that by playing normally, at least one person in your team is probably crashing out by the way you're playing. Some ways you can mess up a teammate's game and thereby mess up their mental is by things like messing up the wave state, taking a shutdown, not joining a team fight, joining the team fight, dying or not dying, and so much more. Also, these are all stuff that my ranked teammates have actually complained about. League also creates a lot of mental strain resulting from the negativity from your teammates, and even your enemies, which can influence your perception of yourself, especially if the game is a large part of your life. Because League is inherently a snowbally type of game, as mentioned before, messing up just a little in the early game can have catastrophic consequences for the rest of the game, making the remaining 20 plus minutes straight up not fun for you. Also, if the quote mental boom does occur, it can create a spiraling downward effect, leading to you being more toxic to your teammates, resulting in them being more toxic to you, which just keeps building and building. You can result in having a worse mental than before touching League. Yet, due to the addiction, you can't run away from it, and you keep coming back. On the topic of addiction, let's talk about it. League is easily addicting. It's the same dopamine rush that sports gives without the labor, etc., etc. But the addiction can result in more isolation due to being an individual experience, which rewards you for isolating from society. Obviously, that's not ideal. There's also an insane competition. The median rank is silver 2 or 3, meaning you will be stuck with these toxic players for a very long time, and it's slightly demoralizing to not see your rank increase as quickly with playtime, which sucks, and I wish Riot could do something about it. Finally, there's the issue of difficulty of entry, whether it be camera control, the 173 champions, idea of lanes, roles, macro, CS farming, objectives, abilities, and controls. It's all a bit much for a new player who just wants to enjoy the game without playing it 24/7 or facing toxicity. Finally, after all that has been said, if you're still interested in playing League of Legends, or if you're already a player but mess with these videos, keep your eyes peeled for my next video, where I'll be giving some tips for new players that I've learned over my past 2 years of slowly grinding from silver to plat. I'll be breaking down which role/champion fits each personality type, as well as some general stuff, so it should be a banger. But this is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and if you enjoyed, make sure to leave a like and subscribe.